I've got a mystery for you to solve, and it involves these pennies. And on this side, these are some older pennies, and on this side, these are some newer pennies. Besides the newer pennies being shiny and the older pennies being dull, the question is, how are these two sets of pennies different? One way we can find a difference is if we find their mass. So let's find the mass of the new pennies. This one is 2014, 2.50 grams. This one is 2019, 2.52 grams. This one is 2021, 2.51 grams. And this one is 2016, 2.48 grams. Now let's do the old pennies. This one is 1959, 3.09. This one is 1979, 3.08 grams. This one is 1964, 3.10 grams. And finally, this one is from 1978, and it is 3.09 grams. After measuring the mass of all the pennies, here's what we have so far. Can you see a difference? I can. The older pennies tend to be heavier than the newer pennies. Now, why is that? Let's see what happens when I try and melt the pennies. This is an old penny from 1963. So let's see when I put the torch to it. Let's see what happens. It's like it's changing color. Oh, cool colors. Oh, looks like I'm getting it red hot. Nothing really happens. After it cooled off, the older penny turned dark, like a grayish black. I had some problems with the bowl getting too hot, so I put some wire mesh underneath this time. So this time, let's heat up a newer penny. This is from the year 2011. Still changing color, just like the last one. Whoa, the penny's starting to be formed. Oh, wow, look at that. It turned this like a silvery color. It's like a silver metal now. It's completely different than what the penny looked like originally. And here they are after heating. Here's the old penny. It's like got a coating that's like flaking off of it, and it shows like copper below. Let's check the back. Well, that's a pretty color. And then the new penny turned silver and it has a weird shape and a weird texture. And this is what it looks like on the back. I've got something else to show you that is related to this mystery. I have this metal right here. This is called zinc. It is solid zinc. I also have this metal. This is called copper. This is solid copper. Both of these cubes are exactly the same volume. They have all the same dimensions. But let me show you their mass. So I'm going to put zinc on the balance. So 52.45 grams. Now I'm going to put copper on there. 72 grams. So that's a huge difference between the two. Copper is heavier than zinc for the same size cube. I took an old penny and I went outside and I scratched it on the concrete. And you can clearly see that it looks like there is this copper metal inside. You can even see on the rim. I took a newer penny and I scratched it on the back. And you can see a different colored metal, a silvery metal, especially on the rim. You can see a silvery colored metal on the inside. That's because older pennies and newer pennies are made of two different metals inside. Older pennies are pretty much solid copper, whereas newer pennies have zinc on the inside. In the year 1982, the US government stopped making these solid copper pennies and instead started making these newer pennies, which are copper plated but zinc on the inside. And the reason is this: the price of copper got to be too expensive to put it in a penny. In fact, for today's value of copper, this penny, this solid copper penny, is worth 2.3 cents just for this one penny. Whereas these newer pennies are only worth 7/10 of a cent in the metal value for that penny. It just doesn't make sense for the government to make a penny out of a metal that is worth more than the actual coin itself. And that is essentially why the government stopped making copper pennies.